Hey guys, welcome back to Resilient Man. Have you ever thought to yourself, when it comes to women, I'm just really tired of paying the bill. I'm tired of paying the bill all the time, whether it's in dating or uh, you're married or whatever the case might be. But what you bring financially is really what makes up a lot of the relationship. And I know that's crossed my mind many times and even I'm a fairly traditional, old-fashioned thinking kind of guy. But even I, in recent years, have gotten tired of it, and especially with the rise, shall we say, of modern feminism and modern women, the attitude that they have, the quote unquote strong, independent women that we find out there. So that's what I want to dive into today, guys. So welcome back to Resilient Man. Again, as we go along, I'd love to hear your thoughts, your comments down below on how you handle things financially. First, I thought we'd talk about dating, and then from a marriage perspective as well. So, because it's really interesting, that it's an interesting dichotomy, shall we say. We're expected to pay, but the strong, independent women, a lot of them want a traditional type of guy who's going to wine and dine them and take care of them and such and treat them in that traditional manner. But they're not traditional women, and they are, I keep coming back to strong and independent because that you hear that so much these days. So really, they don't deserve it. And I myself limit things financially in a dating perspective until she has really earned a place in my life, and then I will consider spending money for wining and dining or things of that nature. And personally, I believe if you have a woman who has a problem with that, you probably got a problem woman, and you probably need to hit the eject button and let her go. So let's jump into this. Let's start off with dating. So, you're on dating apps, you're out meeting women in the wild, shall we say. And let's start with the dating apps, because that's the usual thing that most people are doing nowadays. So you're on a dating app and you've messaged, and you've, let's say the messaging goes well, and you exchange numbers, and my personal approach is, let's meet for a drink, let's meet for a coffee, something like that. I will not do anything more than that. If a woman insists, no, I want a dinner date, or I want you to do this, peace out. I'm not the one for you, and I move on. Because my feeling is, number one, I don't know you, and all I would like to do is meet, see if there's connection, see if there's a vibe. I usually say it'll be about an hour, maybe an hour and a half if our conversation is going well and we decide to keep talking, and over a coffee or over a drink. And from there, you've got a good idea. Yeah, I dig this person's vibe and I like them. Let's pursue this to the next step and go out on an actual date. And even then, that next date it doesn't have to be you're out spending money on them and emptying your wallet to prove you're a man of value. I'm a big believer that if the woman digs you, if she's into your vibe, you could meet her, at the park and go for a walk or anything. She's going to show up simply because she wants to spend time with you. And I almost think it's a great tester, actually, to see, is she really into me? And that will show itself real quick. real quick. So, but you know, I'm not paying for the pleasure of the company of your time. It's not happening. So there's that type of thing. Now, as I said, as you progress in your dating, then okay, we'll take you out to dinner and we'll do that type of thing. Now, I will tell you, I will share one thing with you that I do kind of as a tester with new women that I date. And that is, let's say the first time we meet for a coffee or a drink, and I look for her, even though it's just a coffee, even though it's just a drink, does she offer to pay? Or does she offer to pay for hers? Does she at least offer? That's all I'm asking her to do. And then does she do that on the second or the third date? Let's say the second date, you went out to dinner and maybe you went to a concert or whatever. But she said, hey, listen, you got dinner, let me get all the drinks at the show. Or she offers something. Again, this is something I would strongly recommend that you look for when you're out there dating someone, because to me, it shows that she's into you and she respects you. She respects your time, she respects your money, and that's something you definitely want, because the worst thing you can do is start off a relationship when you're starting to see somebody and it's based on you paying paying for everything. It's not good. It's not going to end well. She's going to come to expect it. So, and I've had that a few times. I mean, I remember one woman, share a quick story. We met out one night at a bar dancing and had a great time and talked and everything. And we met, I think, 2 more times that week. And both times just happened to be at happy hour at a bar. And the one thing I noticed was what I was sharing with you before. She never offered to pay. And actually at the second time the last time we met, the third time, the waitress brought the bill over, put it there, and the woman literally put her hand on it and pushed it over to me. And I just thought to myself, yeah, I'm done with you. So how many of you guys can relate to a story like that? Because I mean, to me, yeah, look guys, it's only a drink or two or whatever we were doing. It's not the money. It's the principle of the thing, and it's the point that obviously she felt entitled, and that she expected that, and she never even thanked me. So that says a lot. So I was done with her, and I've had a numerous like that. I'm sure you guys have. Well, again, I would love to read your comments down below about your first date or stories, of like that. But see, part of the challenge today for us men is that women's expectations in this culture, in this society, are just way too high. I mean, they all want the 6-foot guy, the 6-figure income, blah, blah, blah. But what do they bring to the table? Well, they don't bring nearly as much. They like to call themselves strong, independent women. And it always cracks me up. I'm sure you guys have heard this, where a woman, well, I got my own home and I pay all my bills and I've got a good job and I do all this. And I think to myself, so you're an adult. Why are you bragging about being an adult? That's what men have done for thousands of years. We've paid the bills and taken care of our homes. And, so that's the challenge that we have to deal with, is the expectation and the entitlement. And when you find a woman who doesn't do that and shows you the respect of, hey, do you want me to get this one? Or do you want to split it? Or, hey, you got dinner, let me, now we're going to the concert, let me get the drinks at the concert. That's a cool chick that's a woman who is considerate. I mean, that's what you want. You want someone who is who is considerate. I mean, the majority of the time in any relationship with a man and a woman, usually the man brings, I would say, 2/3 of the income to the situation, especially once you're married. And maybe it's a little different. There's a lot of women out there these days who are well educated and they have good six-figure paying jobs and such. And my feeling is, look, I mean, if that's this is where I have changed, and maybe share with me down below in the comments if you have changed or rethought things in this respect as well. I've always been very traditional and old-fashioned, thinking I'm the man, I'm the leader of this situation, of this possible relationship. So the first 2 to 3 dates I will pay for. And then really, I mean, in my own life, I've paid the majority most of the time because I just looked at that. Maybe you guys looked at yourself this way too. You think of yourself, because you're the man, we have that provider instinct. We want to provide. We want to, show that we have the wherewithal to give that to our woman. And that's good. That's actually a good trait. It's just, unfortunately, in the times we live in, there are a number of women who will take advantage of that. It's also unfortunate that there are a lot of thirsty men out there, simps, who allow it. And, these women use them for their financial resources. And these men are hoping that there's going to be something there from a relationship standpoint or sex, and it never happens. These women just use them. So you have to watch out for that. For instance, there are a lot of women, or a number of women, who want that 6 foot tall, we've all heard the sixes, the six-figure income, and they will not date a blue-collar guy. Which is their loss. I mean, there are a lot of blue-collar guys out there, electricians, plumbers, welders, whatever, in the blue-collar world, who they make a pretty good income. And these would be good men to these women, but those guys are invisible to these women because financially, they don't make enough. And because a lot of women come to the table with the expectation the man needs to make at least 1.5 times what she does. And if you're already dealing with a professional white-collar woman who's already making 6 figures, that's a tall order, And so there's a lot of men that, by her choice, she misses out on that would be good men to her. So those are my thoughts on the finances in dating. Share what you think down below, or share a funny story, because how do you handle the financial piece when it comes to dating, that type of thing? I will finish this thought with my own thought is, I do the simple first date. We might do something a little bit more the second and third, but then I will have, nowadays, I've changed in that I will have the conversation with the woman and say, listen, I dig you, I dig our vibe together, but I'm not going to pay for everything. I'm not paying the bill. So we need to come to some type of agreement to where you pay one time or I pay one time or we split it or something, but I am not paying all the time. And that was very uncomfortable for me, quite frankly, because I'm a traditional guy, but I've made myself do it because, there is the concern of being used, and I want to make sure that she wants to be with me because she wants to be with me. So it's somewhere I had to come out of my comfort zone, and it actually is a good thing. It actually is a good thing. So let's get into the financial part when it comes to being married. And some of you guys, probably the majority of you guys watching this are married. And then you guys who are single and are crazy enough to be thinking about getting married someday, this will be good for you to consider as well. Because, again, a lot of times in a marriage, the man brings 2/3 of the total income. I know that was the situation in my case. And, you get married and you combine into one home and then you combine into one income and all those things. I did the traditional thing, and in hindsight, I never would do it again because of the climate out there of our society and our culture. Ours was a combined bank account. I think at one point we even had a combined credit card, both our names on one credit card. I ended up canceling that because she was irresponsible. How many of you guys can relate to that? So that was our situation, and I know a lot of guys do it, but I've also run into, I'm curious how many of you are married out there who you have a separate bank account. Like you have your bank account, she has her bank account, and then you have a joint bank account that you put your monthly resources into. You put your combined monthly resources in to pay your mortgage and the utilities and the kids stuff and all that stuff. That's the combined. How many of you guys are in that situation? That's what you've done. Because over the years, I've come to believe that is the best situation. It reduces a lot of the arguments when it comes to financials. It reduces your vulnerability. I know, to share a quick story, when I was married, my ex-wife, came from a very well-to-do background. And so she was irresponsible, to put it bluntly. And there were times where I came home and she was like, oh yeah, I went to the mall today and I dropped $500 on this at Nordstrom's, or I did this. And I'm like, you did what? Because I grew up poor and hard and had to work my ass off for everything. So to me, that was just, what? But we were married and the finances were combined and there was nothing I could do about it. Caused a lot of problems in our marriage. It was one of the reasons that we divorced. And how many of you guys can relate to that? So, the frivolous spending in a marriage is usually by the woman. Sometimes it's the man, but in my case, it was definitely the woman. Spending spending the money faster than I could make it. And, that puts a lot of stress on you as a husband. And you're out there grinding it out to make a living and to make a dollar bill. And she's showing you no respect and, making it harder for you to make ends meet. So that's so from a marital perspective with finances, I personally think it's better now. You have a bank account, she has a bank account, you have a joint bank account. Everything else is separate as well. You have your own credit cards in your own names, completely separate, because part of the risk in the marriage situation is she can break the marital contract anytime she pleases and walk away and file for divorce. And look, the stats show that women are initiating and filing for divorce as much as 80% of the time. So if your finances are intertwined, that makes things really sticky. It really does make things really sticky. So that's the kind of a situation that you want to avoid. And especially if you are in a bad situation where maybe she's running around on you, or you guys are having a lot of problems and All of a sudden you pull up your bank account one day and it's been drained, and she says, hey, I'm leaving you. Because, yeah, I mean, yeah, you can hire an attorney and go to court and blah, blah, blah. And she'll probably be on the hook for that. But it's very hard to recoup that, especially if she leaves you in the moment broke and you have no money because she drained the bank account. So these are just things to consider. But as I said, guys, these are things I was thinking about, the financials and how to navigate dealing with women, with your woman. How do you navigate this and how do you deal with this? Because it's an interesting situation out there with today's society. So if you would, comment down below, tell me your thoughts, funny stories with your situation, whatever the case might be, good advice for other guys who may be reading this. Guys, if you enjoyed this content, like and subscribe to Resilient Man channel, and know your worth, protect your peace.